You're listening to a Lost in the Groove segment.
Having good vibes with your bones and joints. Taking a trip into the groove. American groove into stoner world. Gonna play.
It's just a really funny concept
I don't know.
right
It's
now.
just like a thing you hear in every 80s cheesy movie. You know, like drama or action movie. It's like, we have a plan.
Okay.
And then you have like the special effects music that just comes on. And then for like a good 2 minutes, you just like den and any like hearing the music and like people getting punched and fucking like shot on their tush, you know, and like, you know, little like kung fu fighting and all that kind of shit. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but all I'm saying is, when you say you got a plan, motherfucker, you better have a plan. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, you're
You
still
just, like,
laughing about it.
you
still
started
laughing.
to tell the story. You're telling me a story, and it just started with, "Do you have a backup plan?" Like, I was like, "Whoa, bitch!" Like, whoa! Like, I feel like that's a very invasive question. Do you have a backup plan?
Well, look,
Matter
mean,
of fact, I do.
yes, I actually have 2 backup plans. So, I basically like, yeah, right up the asshole, like fucking right up to the left, to the rear, you know, kind of go around the cul-de-sac and come right out. Exactly.
Like, I bet you have. Yeah. My
Well-
backup plan is like, peace out.
Peace out. I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. Great backup plan, by the way. Great. Lots of thought went into that.
Tomorrow they admit me to the hospital. No, no, it's not funny.
No, it's totally fucking
I
funny,
actually
but
didn't
yeah.
mean that way, but it came out that way. No, I mean,
Red flags.
it is a
Maybe.
backup plan. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
it is.
maybe not plan, but it is a backup.
Of some kind. Yeah. It's like, well, I'm about to break into 1,000 pieces, but hey, I got the mental hospital just like 5 miles away. That's an option.
Hey, they'll keep me alive.
Oh,
They keep
yeah.
me safe from me.
All that little candy, you know, little thing of medicine that all looks like little
Stop.
Tic Tacs
Stop. Google.
and Skittles
Google, stop.
and M&Ms.
Holy crap. My parents have a Google, you know?
A
now
Google.
when I say it, it's gonna like, yes? Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hi.
It's
Hello.
really annoying, the Google.
It's weird because I've talked about this with you before. I have a weird talent that I'm able to imitate robotic sounds. Like, we've done this before where I could literally answer a phone and just be like, "Hello, you have reached Citizens Bank. At this time, we have changed our menus. Please choose from the following. Option 1, billing and management. Option 2, checking and savings." And I can just
There's a couple times that you did it where like you like did like the inflection of like the number or like the way that she would like pause like in the word
Oh,
or
yeah.
something that
You
was
have
just like nuts. Like I was like, oh my god, like you're exactly like a computer.
I'm like,
No, you do it sometimes when we're on the phone and we're just like killing time. You've definitely done like some really silly stuff. Oh my god, I just watched you drink that water and I just got so thirsty I could die.
well, there's a ooh. You have entered 8, 7, 7, 6, 2, 2, 9. If this is correct,
No.
please press 1. There you go. Oh my god. Well, you know something? When you deal in customer service, they might like I'm only like 3 or 4 years. You hear those systems so fucking often, it just becomes a part of your vocabulary. Like, you can't help it. Like, I hear that freaking mechanical voice, that Karen, on a day-to-day basis. And
It's kind of funny, like, when it's reciting a phone number and it starts to, like, really, really slow down. Like, it's like 2, 4, 7,
6, 7,
7,
9.
7. You're like, okay.
We got it. You know our phone number or social security number. Like, announce it to the
7.
world, please. Just tell everybody.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like my patience got like there were a couple times today where I was like, okay, like I got stuck in traffic a couple times and I was like, oh my god. Oh my god, I haven't moved. I'm not moving. And like I was like, oh, like my patience has been pretty short today. Like there were different times where I was like, this is a long time. Like a lot of time has passed just now. Yeah. I haven't done a damn thing.
Well, today's my day off, and I've started to like not do things on my day off as much. I just lounge
Good.
around and just chill at home and catch up on some things. At this point, pretty much my days off are going to be me packing. So this is like my last hurrah of being a lazy piece of shit and doing nothing.
Maybe. I don't know if you're packing or not.
No, I have to pack regardless. I have to move. Yeah. No, I have to like.
They're
yeah.
they're still too. Look at how white my hands look right now. Did you
Oh
see that?
yeah. You're white. Very white.
Vampire hands.
Mhm.
They're actually like that. That's not just the camera. The camera.
No, they really
yeah,
are
my
like that in
hands
real
are
life.
actually like Dracula.
Yeah,
like-
in real life. Like
Yeah.
we've talked about you doing Nosferatu like before. You definitely be great for the cast for the hand part. Mhm. I've heard that.
That was it, right?
Yeah, you did a great job. Fantastic. All right, any casters out there looking for next Nosferatu hands?
That's the thing. They need to make it like a, they can't really tell if I'm a guy or a girl. And that's like the new twist on Nosferatu. Is like, we don't really know his gender anymore. And if they cast me, they're kind of like, wait.
No, we're all so delirious, and we've had rods of metals up our fucking asshole that, just
We
like,
both had really hard weeks.
Yeah,
We
really,
both,
really.
yeah. If you care about us at all,
Which you don't, but it's okay. We
you
still
should
love you.
know that I went through an abusive situation this week. I think we've all been abused at different times in our lives. If you're one of the people
No.
who has not felt abuse ever, I don't really know.
Crawl back in your hole where you belong.
No. It's good. I'm happy for you. I don't really know how someone gets through this life, like the whole life, without the abuse, because like I just see it a lot. Like,
no kidding, Sherlock. Yeah, it's like fucking everywhere.
I don't know. It could be like that. I don't have enough like boundaries. I'm trying to work on that. Trying to protect myself from the abuse before it happens.
Yeah, that would be that's an excellent idea.
Yeah,
Excellent.
boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries.
I got
Whoever
a book.
thought?
I showed you my bookie, right?
Oh yeah.
Book.
I don't honestly. I don't remember the title.
I think it's called like Boundaries.
Great title.
No, it's in my room. It's pretty cool. I feel like I started looking through it. There's one page where you just find different ways to say no. I remember my old therapist used to work on those with me too. My favorite one was, I would love to, but I can't.
Yeah, I hate that.
She taught me that one and I was like, oh. I was like, wow, she was like, that one's just for some reason easier for people who have boundary problems. And she's right. It is. It's just a little bit easier because I get to say both.
When I hear that, I crawl back into my skin and I just want to ask a million questions. I'll be like, why? Did I do something? Did I say something? Like, why?
No, it's like if someone like asks you to come over, and like you're really just actually too tired and you really need sleep and but you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah, but I
and make
try
them
to be
feel
understanding,
like you don't.
but it's hard for me. Like, I want to be understanding, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, well, they don't want to hang out with me. Or like they don't want
That's
to.
why I kind of feel like it's better to just be like legit honest and take the time to like say the whole thing, which is probably what I would do
That's what I
with
do.
you if we lived in the same city. I would legit tell somebody like,
Not Iowa.
I just got off work. I would say, you know, like I just got off work and I'm just like, I know we could trash on Iowa in a second. I'm all about it.
I know we always do. We have to like
But
just
I
throw a
feel
little in
like
there.
I know there's probably some like Iowa hipsters around here that are like, fuck you, Iowa's
fuck
great.
American
and I'll be like,
groove.
yeah, go live somewhere else for a minute. Figure it out. See
Yeah,
if it's really
exactly.
that great.
Uh-huh.
Your guys' fucking governor can suck balls.
If
I
she
think it's the
hasn't already.
governor that sucks. You know, she should suck some balls. That would actually probably help things.
Anal beats.
I'm
Anal
just
beats?
saying.
Yeah.
Loosen
Good.
up a little.
Yeah,
Have
little
some
mouth
fucking
action.
fun.
Yeah, you get your
Yeah.
jaw, you know, kind of straight
God.
and a little more asphyxiated.
I don't know. She just
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, we have one out here in Florida too. That really.
Yeah, you guys got a bad leader too.
Jesus
It's not
Christ.
that she's bad at leading. She just personal freedoms.
This
on the
this governor here in Florida
on the
decided
down.
to ban lab-grown meats. So lab-grown meats are no longer going to be allowed to be sold in Florida. And
Such an interesting choice.
I know, right? And it's like I'm not a supporter of it by any means. I don't buy the product. I don't eat any of it. However, it comes down to like a simple thing where people have a choice. People get to choose if they want to drink alcohol and get shit-faced drunk. People have a choice if they want to buy a pack of cigarettes. People have a choice if they want to buy cannabis and smoke cannabis.
It's one thing for things to be done in public in front of other people. Like, I feel like that, you know, maybe they should have some say in about what happens in a public area.
Don't control our food and substances.
But I'm saying,
don't control our food and substances.
People need to have the right to do what they want if it's not hurting other people in the privacy of their own home. Like, it's just fucked up for people not to have rights. Like, I don't know. It's almost like they're forcing everyone to go to church on Sunday or something. Like that, honestly.
Even
like,
though
how
we're
is
all
it
not
any
Christian.
freaking different? But that's what I'm saying is, like, if it's not right to force us all to go to church, it's not right to force us all to do anything, dude. Like, it's all the same stuff. Like, you shouldn't choose what my beliefs are. You don't choose that I don't smoke. Like, it's ridiculous.
I know.
Like,
I know.
You also don't choose that I go to jail forever because of it. Like, that's, excuse me, the freedom of my life? What? I'm sorry, how is this not religious, like, persecution?
Well,
They're the same freaking thing.
Well,
like,
it comes
not
down...
only am I not allowed to do it, but you lock me up? Like, that's nuts.
It comes down, honestly, to the hypocrisy, which is, again, is the fact that you have no problem making tobacco products and alcohol completely legal, as well as have foods, which, by the way, no wheat that is grown here in the United States has not been genetically modified in some shape or form. There is no such thing
it's not possible.
as natural wheat here in the United States.
What's going on
Doesn't
with
exist.
like people saying like that they have natural wheat and things when they're at like, and by the way, this is tobacco.
This is tobacco too, by the way.
It's just a lot of tobacco.
Yeah, this is a lot of tobacco.
And every time I'm on the podcast, it's always tobacco.
Tobacco.
Just only tobacco all the time.
Only tobacco. that happens to be green.
Yeah.
It's green tobacco.
Well, this is tobacco.
This is tobacco too.
This truly is.
Yeah, I know. This is too. 1 second. Let me smoke my tobacco out of
what
my
was
pipe.
I even?
We were talking about the hypocrisies of how they have control over things even though they shouldn't have. But then when it comes to like wheat that is completely genetically modified.
I was wondering how they sell all natural wheat in like Whole Foods then, if like they've all been like modified by now.
So
I mean,
some of it is imported
for
from
survival
Europe.
of the plant. You know, I mean, so we possibly might not even have wheat if we didn't modify it. That's probably a retarded thing to say, but you know what I'm trying to say.
No, it's true, and it's the same story with corn. You come from Iowa. Corn has also been genetically modified. When we're talking about modified, put it into the perspectives of you have scientists that are in a lab. These are food scientists. So that's what they practice. They practice food products. Pertaining specifically where they look at the cells of a plant in a petri dish and they can see from different seasons how the different kernels, different seeds, when they grew, what type of growth they got out of them, what type of infections, was there any type of outsourced sources of new things that affected the plant in any shape or way. It's to allow to make food safer to consume, so there's less toxicities.
Oh yeah.
Believe it or
mean,
not,
also-
food can be taxed. There's ergot, which is an example, wheat mold, which can get you really fucking high, but also can kill you. Corn has the same thing. It has a very deadly fungus.
Did I ever tell you this story about my old science teacher?
Oh god,
This
Dr.
is-
Frankenstein? So
We're all about the artist. That is the whole purpose of this podcast, period. And you have a really valuable tool. You can share this with artists, people that are creative, someone that can enjoy this podcast and really enjoy the experience of Lost in the Groove. So, with that, let's jump back to today's episode, shall we?
cheesy.
I'm
Yes.
telling a story that my old science teacher told. I don't know. How's my volume? You hear me okay?
Yeah, how's mine?
I feel like it's good, but I feel like maybe I don't hear it as much in my ears, but
Damn.
it's okay as long as you can hear me. But
Yeah, I can hear you.
I had a science teacher. I went to alternative high school, which is for the bad kids. I was one of the only females at alternative high school that wasn't pregnant. I feel like most of them were there because they were either pregnant or they had had a baby or something like that. And for some reason, I was just there with the rest of them. But I feel like there were a lot of like cool people there. I liked
Mhm.
alternative high school, but I had a science teacher there. His name was Mr. Happy. And it was Happe, but he pronounced it Mr. Happy. And he was an amazing science teacher.
I mean, obviously, with a name like Happy,
He was the coolest. He was so great.
he lived up to his name.
Yes. Yeah, he lived up to his name. He was really chill. He talked to us like we were like adults and he like didn't judge us at all. And he'd like take us out and like have us do trips and stuff like that. But he told us, because he's like this like real like hippie man, and he had like a van and he'd like drive us around, take us out, teach us things about nature and like whatever else. And he was a great science teacher. I feel like I learned some science, but I didn't learn like the same science that I learned when I eventually went to college. But he's an amazing teacher, and I'm sure like he gave me my papers and I studied them and I worked on them. But he was really chill with us. But he told me a story because he's like a real hippie dude with his van and whatever, and he
Yeah.
had like a shaggy hair. He told me a
Yeah.
story that he like he was like, he's like, I'm so sick of paying these taxes and paying all this,
Fuck yeah.
money and all this shit. And he's a cigarette smoker, or had been back when he was growing up.
Back in the day.
And he was like, I had
Mhm.
my own, house, I had my own land, like whatever. He's like, he's like, you could do that back in the 70s. And he's like, so I started growing my own tobacco. And I was like, fuck the man. Like, I'm gonna grow my own tobacco. Like, I don't need, to buy cigarettes or whatever. And so he like grew his own tobacco, and he's like, I vomited so hard that like it could have killed me. He's like, that was the dumbest thing anyone could have ever done. He was like, that's what I learned, was that it could have truly killed me. And when I felt like I might die, it meant that I might actually die. And he was like, it was really, 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 really dumb. He was like, really dumb. And he was like, so that he's like, that is maybe a lesson that I learned, that like maybe things are kind of distributed in certain
Yeah.
ways, because if we did things our own way, we might really screw them up. But it's like, honestly, maybe people like need a little accountability these days. Like, I've seen
Well,
some ridiculousness out there.
The
like,
thing that
but
I always go back to is
I feel bad just writing off Mr. Happy's story like just like that. I do
no.
I do have to say that he's amazing, and he told us that because like it was a very vulnerable thing to share with like your students, but I think
Obviously.
he wanted to share with us different moments where his eyes had been opened about things that like he was very sure about. And it was also kind of like a science matter. Like he taught us that, like, well, there's different potencies to different things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, the tobacco that I was growing is like, 40 million times stronger. And once it hits my bloodstream, like in the way that it did, and, he explained like all of it to us. And it was just kind of like really eye opening. And yeah, it's like sometimes you need to tell like high schooler kids that are into like a bunch of trouble, like interesting shit like that to like get their attention and like really relate with them. Like, I don't know, kids like me, we were tired of just hearing the same old shit all the time. And we needed some type of connection to be like, invested in what he had to say. But
Well,
that's my rattle about my old teacher.
No, and like honestly, onto that, it's where there's nothing wrong with food science. Thing is, food science has been around for thousands of years, and different cultures have used food science to their benefits to grow different plants. For example, using volcanic soils, figuring out using places that are very wet to reutilizing the water supply going back into the land. And the issue that we keep on running into again is profits. There's some really amazing food scientists out there that are doing incredible work, making sure that we are able to eat safe foods. However, whenever you get in the large companies and you get those industries and things in the nature, they use those things to their advantage and they try to make as much money as they possibly can. So it's like you can live off the grid. I'm not trying to shame people that want to live off the grid. But honestly, think to yourself for a second. When you live off the grid and you're living off the land, you have to have some type of science. You need to have some type of structure and understanding of what can you grow there? How can you grow it there? What are the things that you need to know? And what are the things that you don't need to know? And like how to utilize even the ecosystem there, like the insects or the animals that live there. Believe it or not, that actually plays a very big part in regards to what you can plant.
I mean, I sound ridiculous, but like,
Sorry, I've done a lot of research on this
I
and I've spoken to quite a few people. So
I
it's just like,
can't help
"Ugh."
but think that like the Native Americans knew a lot about the land without science research.
Technically, what they did was was
Yeah,
science, but
it
yeah,
is.
yeah, without the research and all the jazz, right?
Well, they didn't like separate it into that and, write it down and use a scientific method the same way, but they had their own ways of doing things. And I think that a lot of it is trial and error. People have been doing things for a long time and they just kind of naturally knew, what worked better than others, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that people maybe had more instincts than they used to in general. Like, I think that if you're more connected to your surroundings, you're going to have some instincts. I think that, we've got people who maybe never farmed in their lives going in, getting degrees in engineering plants. And then all of a sudden there they are, the people responsible for, making sure that everybody has food.
Well, that's one thing.
So
That's one thing that I kind of appreciated and really enjoyed, specifically even with the cannabis industry, even out here in Florida, is kind of just the mix of science and growth. Because when you take plants and herbs and things of that nature, they're so complicated and so beautiful at the same time. The way like having them interact with different soils changes their behaviors, their mood, the humidity of or how dry it is. It's
plants are so temperamental.
They are, and it just goes to show you how connected they are to their environment. It's all about, you know, I like to be a supporter of being able to live a better life than what's given. But at the same time, there are benefits to the things that we have added to our lives. It's allowed us to connect better, see things in their light almost. kind of see the world the way that the plant sees the world. It's just kind of weird, You ever thought about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of thought, like, well, if they're that responsive to the world around them, we are too, and so I was just kind of sitting here pitying myself for a second, thinking about all the shit that I'm around all the time and how that's probably why I don't feel so great on the inside from time to time, too. And it's like, yeah, you really got to get yourself like out, like in the sun. You got to get yourself some laughter. Like, it's because you're not stationary, you're not planted like a plant. It's kind of your job to like put yourself around your nourishment and whatever that nourishment might be.
What sparks you? What inspires you?
Oh my god. I like funny people. I like laughing. Yeah, that's kind of my jazz. I told you I got tickets for Pete Davidson, right? I was pretty jazzed about that. Here I am bringing it up again.
I'm not a fan of Pete Davidson, and you know
I know,
this.
I know, I know, I know.
I'm
But
like,
it's going to be fun. He's a New Yorker though. You guys got that?
Hey, it's Dave, and I quickly just wanted to jump in and say if you've been enjoying the podcast and enjoying this episode, if you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that'll be so greatly appreciated. Because here's the thing, someone might read that review and make the choice if they want to listen to the podcast. You get to help grow this podcast with us. How fucking cool is that? Let's jump back to today's episode.
there.
You don't want to say anything about it. Like,
No,
you're like, well,
it's just okay. It's because like I'm a New Yorker that grew up outside of this city, and we look at the people from the city as city folk. I'm like, I'm not even kidding, and we're very different cultures. Like out in where I grew up, we're miserable fuckheads that are all blue collar that have to deal with immigrants that refuse to speak English. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, there are people there that are from Haiti. They've been there for like 29 years and refuse to fucking speak English. And it's just like a battle cry of everybody just being like, you know what? At least we have the city that's 40 minutes away, but we never visit it. Like, never. You could be there. You could be fucking Rockland County for 49 years, and you go to like New York City like twice in your life. And then there's people that are in the city that like, they think they're the shit, okay? They live in a roach-infested, mouse, rat, fucking shitty sewer, piss-smelled, grungy place that's just cement and concrete.
my sister said New York is
Disgusting.
freaking nasty.
It's nasty.
But
I'm
then
sorry.
there's Central Park.
And then there's all of the culture that comes with New York City.
Yeah.
The clubs, the restaurants, the venues, the art galleries, the museums.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
years of history.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really miss culture. I was thinking about what it was like. Just, it felt really good. I don't know. Like, it was so interesting to,
In
like,
what
go
way?
to be in Koreatown. I would say, like,
Oh, that's really fun. They have some really good Korean barbecue places. With the long tables, and they bring everything to you.
oh, hell yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I was, like, making a list of, like, the foods that I would want if I went to Koreatown. And then, like, the foods that I would want in general, like, if I went to LA. And I had, like, quite a list, and then I was like, oh, shit. But I was thinking about Koreatown and, like,
In LA.
In LA, and I was thinking, like, I really feel like a lot of the Korean people, and I don't know, but I feel like a lot of the Korean people who were in Koreatown seemed very comfortable. Like, I don't know, I guess because I was thinking about the people in Pella, because they're, like, from Holland or the Netherlands, and then they moved there, and, like, what it must feel like to, be in a place so far away, but have kind of like a recreation. That's something that I've never experienced. not exactly like a recreation, but it was just like a build another home version of your home in a faraway place. So I was thinking about how, like, well, I wonder if the Korean people felt, comfortable in Koreatown. I mean, it still can't be anywhere near like home, but I remember the Korean people that I was with seemed rather like content with Koreatown. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, where I grew up, there were people that really tried very hard to bring in Middle Eastern and Israeli foods that my dad and many other families similar to my father, because, he was from Morocco, he's from Africa, that we were accustomed to. And that was absolutely just amazing, because it was like almost as if they were doing a service, even though it was food. Like the biggest smiles coming in there, my dad speaking to them, hearing about new things that they were adding. Like, to me, even though it's not home, you try to make whatever place you're at to be your home, because we live in a melting pot. That's what the US is.
hmm. That's interesting because I've been kind of going through this whole like, because LA was my home, like, be honest.
I know,
I've lived there for 11 years.
we
So
should
it's
talk about
like,
this on the next episode. We should like really get into that.
but it's like it relates because maybe that's more what I need to do is like bring more of that home like here. But it's like I don't really know how to do that. But I will say, like, yeah, it's, even though this was always my home, I feel like that is more my home out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird to have like the double home thing. I don't know.
Speaking of weird, do you know it's also weird, Carissa?
What?
We're at that halftime.
Yeah. I know. I just had to finish like the full thought.
No,
like,
I know. Because like it eats at you, and you're like, "Come on!" It's like, all right,
There's no way. Yeah.
So, to any of you that's listening out there, if you want to check out American Groove, you can find us on Instagram at American Groove Pod. And if you want to check out more of the podcast, you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Lost Pod. So with that, Chris, are we finished?
Yeah. That was the first part.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dose.
Bye. Oh, that was... I'm dead.
We're all about the artist. That is the whole purpose of this podcast, period. And you have a really valuable tool. You can share this with artists, people that are creative, someone that can enjoy this podcast and really enjoy the experience of Lost in the Groove. So, with that, let's jump back to today's episode, shall we? Hey, it's Dave, and I quickly just wanted to jump in and say, if you've been enjoying the podcast and enjoying this episode, if you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that'll be so greatly appreciated. Because here's the thing, someone might read that review and make the choice if they want to listen to the podcast. You get to help grow this podcast with us. How fucking cool is that? Let's jump back to today's episode.